Savannah. I don't have a big fancy intro for myself. I'm a writer and a blogger and a YouTuber. Someday I'd love to be an author and share my story, and I want to do more stuff like this and be an advocate and be a part of amazing foundations that shed light to important things and give voices to people who don't have a voice. When I first got sick, I used to look online to see if there was anyone, being an advocate and sharing their story, and there wasn't anyone like that. So it became kind of my mission to fill in that gap and become that person. So I was asked to come here today to share my story and essentially help you all understand more of what it feels like to be sick. What does it feel like to have these illnesses? What does that look like? What does that do to you? But the cool thing about my story is it's not just my story. There's a lot of people that have the exact same story, and in fact, it's Alex's story almost to a T. So, for any that don't know, Alex was my bacterial soulmate, as I like to call it. We had all the same illnesses, and our lives paralleled in so many ways, even beyond our health struggles. And I truly wish that we could have paralleled in our recovery and remission as well. I wish more than anything that she could be here today to share her story with you all, but I'm honored to be here to share both of our stories and be a voice for us both. So much like Alex, prior to getting sick, I was very active in sports. I was doing soccer and volleyball and water polo and swimming and any sport and every sport I could get my hands on, I was doing it. The summer before I got sick, I was in the best shape of my life, and thank God I was. I was able to do 300 sit-ups a day. I could swim for hours at a time without getting tired. I was also, like Alex, fairly academically inclined. I had a 4.0. I was in all honors classes. I was set up to sail through high school and go off to university. But my life changed in a matter of 3 days. Everything that my life was just flipped. After 3 days of my freshman year of high school, I got sick and could no longer go. And in a matter of days, I went from top of my game, 4.0, sports, to, I listed a bunch of my symptoms here. I couldn't walk without help. I would black out every time I would stand up. I couldn't read. I couldn't do simple addition. I was in head-to-toe pain. I suffered with nausea and insomnia, and at my worst, I was sleeping every other day. I had purple legs and feet, numbness, twitching, burning, rashes, heart palpitations, constant excruciating migraines, neck, back, joint, muscle pain, painful swollen lymph nodes, low blood pressure, recurring fever, just to list some of my symptoms. Over time, I began to really struggle with mental health as well. I suffered with a lot of things like depression and panic attacks. I had many panic attacks a day. I had OCD and irrational fears that just went on and on and on. And I used to be the fearless kid that could do anything and everything. My brother was the cautious one, like, maybe we shouldn't have climbed the tree, and I was already at the top. That was me. I was like every roller coaster. I was an adrenaline junkie, and then all of a sudden, I couldn't even walk into kitchens without having a panic attack. Kitchens. My mind very quickly felt like an empty, vacant shell, and I didn't even recognize the person I was in the mirror anymore. I felt like a ghost of the person I used to be, and I was 14. Everything that my life was changed in the blink of an eye. And along with my physical and mental health, I also lost all of my friends too, which arguably the severe isolation that comes with chronic illness is the most painful part of everything I've been through. I went from having sports teams full of friends that I'd known my entire life to suddenly having 0 friends for years. And it's heartbreaking and soul-crushing, and I can't even describe to you how painful that is. And I lost it all in a matter of days. Days turned to weeks, weeks to months, and eventually it had been a year, and I was still undiagnosed and getting worse by the day. In the course of that year, as you heard, we were traveling all over, getting tests, seeing doctors everywhere. And I was dying, and no one knew why. And in fact, a lot of people treated us like we were crazy and straight up told me it was in my head. At age 15, we left one of the best children's hospitals in the world and left with nothing but a diagnosis of chronic pain, and they told me to see a therapist for cognitive behavioral therapy and to see a physical therapist to manage my pain, which is essentially an extremely expensive way of telling me you're basically crazy, and what little pain you may have, you need to learn to live with for the rest of your life. We were not satisfied with that answer. You can tell probably just by listening to my mom speak that she's like a dog finding a bone. Like she was gonna get it. We always called her like a horse with blinders on. She was going. She wouldn't take no for an answer. So eventually we found doctors to test me for tick-borne illnesses. I tested positive for many. And the first one I tested positive for is Ehrlichia schaefoensis, which is a tick-borne illness that we had never heard of. And in fact, over the years, many of my doctors had never heard of it. After that positive test result, we got a call from the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, which is a part of the government. And they called to ask me where I got it and how we treated it. I had been undiagnosed the whole first year. I didn't know I had it, so we didn't know where I got it, and we didn't know how to treat it. And so essentially that man from the CDC then told my mom, wow, that's amazing that your daughter's still alive. Every known case in your area deceased within 6 months without treatment. All along, we knew I was dying. I knew it, my family knew it. Somehow, none of the doctors we had seen could see it. But to get that call from the CDC and essentially be told you should technically be dead was a very real wake-up call in my life that I hope a lot of people, most people in the world, will never have to experience what that feels like. I was very lucky to find amazing doctors who not only believed that I was actually sick, but they believed in me, and I was able to put my trust and faith in them that they would carry me forward. I went through years of pretty rigorous treatment. I got to about 70% better, and then I relapsed, and I suddenly started having allergic reactions to everything, and I didn't know why. I was then diagnosed with Mast Cell Activation Syndrome, and continued on a downward spiral for a good 6 months. I lost 20 pounds, which I obviously don't have to lose, and I was reacting to everything. Just everything, literally. You can think of makeup, air fresheners, body products, shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, Clorox wipes were killer. Foods, every food. I was down to only 2 foods and even would react to all but 1 brand of water. I was losing ground extremely quickly, and I was painfully aware that I was running out of time. And I've been sick for a really long time, and I've almost died countless times, but never more in my life than that winter of 2016 did I really think that I was going to die. I was 100% sure I wouldn't live more than a few more months. And that's a really hard thing to explain, what that feels like to know that you're gonna die. But it's just something you feel. I could feel myself fading away, and my family could see it. I know that's why my mom's so emotional. I came to peace with death back when I was 14 and was dying and we didn't know why. I had kind of given up a lot of hope. I came to peace with death. I had even lived a couple more years. I got better for a while. I felt like that was a gift. And so I was okay with letting go 2 years ago. I made peace. But somehow, by some miracle, I'm still alive. I'm here today. I'm now 20, and I've been chronically ill for 6 years of my life, which is a third of my life for anyone counting. I've been in remission for almost 2 years now, and I'm 80% better and extremely grateful for my healing, my continued progress, for my growth as a person, and for all of the people who helped me get to where I am. I don't take a single breath for granted. I'm sure a lot of people look at me and think I'm just an average 20-year-old, and even once people hear my story, I think a lot of people look at me and still feel so confident that I never could have died. But it's really easy to assume that when a person doesn't really look sick or doesn't talk or act like they're sick. But what does a sick person talk or act like? I never really looked sick either, which is a huge disadvantage when you're trying to convince doctors that you're sick. But I have invisible illnesses, which means externally a person can look completely normal, but internally they could be dying. Mental illnesses are included in invisible illnesses. I also have always maintained this balance of preserving who I am as a person and my soul and my core, and not letting my illness take that away from me, no matter how much it may sometimes physically impair me. But it's really easy to look at someone who doesn't look sick or act sick and assume that them continuing to live is a guarantee. Something I really want you to understand is that me continuing to live through my illnesses was never a guarantee or a given. It's a miracle that I'm alive and here today. And the CDC, that phone call, that's proof of that. And the fact that Alex is not here is proof of that. Alex and I hadn't met yet during the winter of 2016 when I was closest to death. We met in the spring of 2017 after a whole series of amazing serendipitous events. But during that winter of 2016, we paralleled. We were in the same place at the same time, and for whatever reason, I made a turn for the better, and she made a turn for the worse. And we didn't do a whole lot different either. We had a lot of the same doctors too. When you're sick, and your whole life and health falls apart, and you lose everything, including yourself, you become like a prisoner within your own body, and you become like an outsider to the rest of the world. You're just this medical mystery that no one understands unless they've lived the same struggles and are right there with you, stuck on the outside looking in. You ask yourself why a lot. The infamous why me. And when Alex passed away, I started asking myself, why her? Why me? Why her? Why us? Why did we get so sick? Why am I still alive today and she's not? Why am I here speaking at her foundation and she's not? I don't know. I don't know the answers to those questions, but that's exactly why there needs to be more funding for research. Because we were such parallel cases with such vastly different outcomes. And we don't know enough about these illnesses right now, but with more research, that could be life-saving for countless people worldwide. It could have been life-saving for Alex. It could have saved me years and years of struggle and pain. Something I do know for sure is that Alex and I both knew we were destined to cross paths and meet. I didn't know her whole life. I actually knew her for only just shy of a year before she passed. We only met in person once, but we texted a lot. And she impacted my life so deeply, even just from the first moment we met. Never in my life have I ever met a person who understood me or my deepest struggles in life so much. We had lived and breathed through the same trauma and pain and the isolation of being sick and friendless and bedridden for years. We instantly had this very deep, unspoken bond, and we knew that no matter what, neither of us would ever be alone again because we'd found a person who really got it and believed. Words don't describe how much it means to find a person who truly understands what you've been through, especially when for years so many don't even believe it. They don't even believe what you're going through is true. In less than a year, she was more of a friend to me than most people I knew my entire life. And I'll forever be grateful for her and our time that we had together. One of the first things she and I bonded over was, aside from our parallel life stories, we had this shared belief that everything happens for a reason. It's something I've lived my entire life by, and she had too. We believed that there was a higher purpose behind our health struggles, and we always felt we were brought together for a reason. We shared dreams of becoming inspiring success stories for our illnesses and being a voice for other people, being advocates. We both had this dream of wanting to start foundations and do this. And we never really said it, but I feel like we both just had this shared dream of wanting to change the world and make it a better place, like true humanitarians, through and through. Though she may not be here physically today, I know she's here in spirit and is living out her dreams and making a difference, that she will continue to inspire and help and uplift so many people, including myself. I'm honored to be a part of helping live out any part of her legacy that I can. I hope you all learned here something today, and that the next time you see or hear about someone suffering from chronic illness, you have more understanding of what they're going through, more empathy, that you may reach out, lend a helping hand. I hope you don't judge a book by its cover, and I hope you listen and let other people tell you their truth and their story. Because we need to start making more of an effort to be willing to hear others out and be open to learning how we can make this world a better place for us all. We can't continue to treat people with instant skepticism. When someone has pain or struggle, why are so many doubtful that it's the truth? Why do we assume we know someone's truth better than they know it? We need to start believing people, which has kind of become the slogan for this foundation. Believe. Believe that people's illnesses are real and valid. Believe in them. Believe in standing up for justice and helping others and being a voice and coming together to make a difference. We may not understand enough about these illnesses right now, but just because we don't understand enough about these illnesses right now doesn't mean that it's not real. And it doesn't mean that we can't change that. This is an opportunity for growth, and I believe that with teamwork, we can make change happen. So I hope you all will be a part of making that change happen. And lastly, I just want to say thank you so much for having me come today. Thank you all for listening. It's an honor to come and speak on behalf of Alex, so thank you so much to Jody for giving me this opportunity and trusting me to tell our stories. And congratulations on a beautiful foundation that I know Alex is so proud of.
Thank you, Savannah.